Long ago in the land of Israel, King Saul reigned. He ruled a kingdom that for a time enjoyed peace and prosperity. The fields were fertile, the people were content, and the future seemed bright. But this tranquility was not to last. A shadow fell upon the land as the Philistines arrived, their intentions clear, to conquer and control, threatening everything the Israelites held dear. Their army was fierce and well-equipped, a terrifying force to behold. The Israelites, unprepared and outnumbered, were gripped by fear. Panic spread like wildfire through the countryside as people fled their homes, seeking refuge from the impending doom. Each day, a giant of a man named Goliath stepped forward, a towering figure of immense strength and intimidating presence. His armor shone brilliantly in the sunlight, a dazzling display of power. His voice, a thunderous roar, echoed across the valley, striking fear into the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. Goliath brazenly challenged Israel, mocking their God and their king. "Send one man to fight me. If he wins, we'll serve you. If I win, you'll serve us." For 40 long days, Goliath's taunts echoed through the valley, a constant reminder of their helplessness and the Philistines' overwhelming power. But no one dared face him. No one was brave enough to accept his challenge. Fear had paralyzed the entire Israelite army. Even King Saul, the tallest and strongest Israelite, was paralyzed by fear, unable to rally his troops or offer any hope. The soldiers hid, cowering behind rocks and in their tents, desperate to avoid the giant's gaze. Hope faded with every sunrise, each new day bringing only more despair and the chilling sound of Goliath's challenge. The people, in their fear, forgot the God who had helped them before, the God who had delivered them from slavery and led them through the wilderness. All they saw was the giant, his massive silhouette looming over them, a symbol of their impending doom, and all they felt was fear, a deep, paralyzing fear that gripped their hearts and minds. The problem seemed impossible, an insurmountable obstacle that blocked their path to freedom and peace. And Israel's future looked dark, shrouded in uncertainty and the looming threat of Philistine domination. But hope, as it often does, sometimes comes from the most unexpected places, carried on the shoulders of the unlikely. In the tranquil town of Bethlehem, nestled amidst rolling hills and ancient olive groves, lived a young shepherd named David, a boy of humble origins, but with a spirit destined for greatness. He faithfully cared for his father's sheep, ensuring their safety and well-being in the pastures surrounding Bethlehem. While his older brothers bravely fought in Saul's army, defending their land against the Philistine threat, David diligently protected the flock from the dangers of the wild, facing down lions and bears with unwavering courage, trusting in God for strength and guidance in every perilous encounter. Alone in the vast open fields, under the watchful gaze of the heavens, he sang songs of praise to the Almighty, pouring out his heart in melodies of devotion, his faith growing stronger and deeper with every challenge he faced, every obstacle he overcame. One fateful day, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, David's father Jesse entrusted him with a simple yet important task: to deliver food provisions to his brothers on the battlefield. Without hesitation, David set out on his journey, completely unaware that this seemingly ordinary errand would soon catapult him into a destiny far beyond his wildest dreams, forever changing the course of his life and the fate of his nation. He carried no sword, no shield, just his humble shepherd's staff and his trusty sling, tools he had used to protect his flock. His heart was filled with thoughts of his family, his brothers, and their well-being. David's heart was pure and true, his faith in God unwavering and steadfast. He was just a young boy on a simple mission, but God, in his infinite wisdom, had far bigger and more significant plans in store for him. As he walked along the dusty path, he couldn't help but wonder about the ongoing battle and the fate of his brothers, not knowing that he himself would soon become an integral part of that very conflict. Young David was about to step into a story far greater and more significant than anything he could have ever imagined. For sometimes, it is the smallest and most unassuming voices that bring the greatest hope and usher in the most extraordinary transformations. The Israelite army was in a dire situation, facing an enemy that seemed insurmountable. David, the young shepherd, arrived at the camp and found fear everywhere, a palpable sense of dread hanging in the air. He saw Goliath taunting Israel, his voice booming across the valley, a challenge that struck terror into the hearts of the soldiers. David was shocked, and couldn't believe no one would step up to face him. The giant's arrogance was a direct insult to God. Filled with righteous indignation, David asked, "Who is this giant who defies the army of the living God?" His brother Eliab heard him and scolded him, questioning his motives and dismissing his concerns. But David's courage didn't waver. He knew that something had to be done. Word of David's boldness, his unwavering faith and determination, quickly reached King Saul. Intrigued and desperate, Saul summoned him to his tent. Saul looked at the young shepherd boy with doubt, saying, "You're just a boy, inexperienced in battle. Goliath's a warrior, a seasoned fighter from his youth." David replied with unwavering conviction, "I've fought lions and bears to protect my father's sheep. God protected me then. He gave me the strength to overcome those beasts." He continued, "He'll protect me now. This giant will be like one of them." David's unwavering faith and confidence impressed Saul. Seeing the spirit within the young man, Saul finally agreed, "Go, and may the Lord be with you, son." David wasn't the strongest or most experienced warrior, but he was undoubtedly the bravest, fueled by his unwavering belief in God. He believed God could do the impossible, that with faith, anything was achievable. Sometimes faith, that unwavering belief in something greater than oneself, is the greatest weapon of all. With a sling in his hand and faith in his heart, David stepped forward, ready to face the giant, ready to confront the impossible. The fate of Israel, the hopes and dreams of an entire nation, rested on the courage of one young shepherd boy. Saul offered David his armor, but it was too heavy. David chose 5 smooth stones and his sling, tools he trusted. Goliath laughed at the sight of the boy, mocking him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" The giant roared. But David stood firm, unafraid. "You come with sword and spear," David shouted. "But I come in the name of the Lord." He declared that God would deliver Goliath into his hands. David wanted everyone to know, the battle belonged to God, not to weapons or strength. His faith turned the fight into a test of trust. The armies watched, breathless, as the boy faced the giant. Sometimes faith alone can silence the loudest threats. As Goliath advanced, David ran toward him, sling in hand. He let a stone fly. It struck Goliath's forehead, and the giant crashed to the ground. In a single moment, the battle was won. The Israelites cheered, courage restored, and chased the fleeing Philistines. David's faith had saved a nation. He proved it's not the size of the warrior, but the size of their faith that matters. This victory was just the beginning for David. He would become a great king, loved by his people and by God. The story of the giant ended, but David's story was just beginning. With faith and courage, even the smallest can do great things.